An exhibit at the Becker County Museum in Detroit Lakes looks back at what it was like to be a doctor in the early to mid 20th century. The Sprafka family has donated all of the medical equipment from their family practice, and it's quickly evident that medical advancements have come a long way since then.
My father started practice here in 1938, late 1938, until 1965 when he was semi-retired, and then practiced a little bit till 1974. It was in the basement of our house that I presently own, and like at that time, there were no clinics. All the doctors or dentists had their offices upstairs and apartments up there. And this is all his equipment here, and we've had it for a number of years. He passed away in 1980. We bought the house for my mother, and then we decided, why are we keeping this? Let's donate it to the Becker County Museum, because then a lot of people will be able to see it, and it'll be useful that way.
We received a phone call from the Sprafka family asking if we'd be interested in acquiring all of the items from Dr. Sprafka's medical office. And so we came over and took a look at it. Many of the items were not things we had in our collection, especially things like the exam table, the IV pole. We did have some medical equipment already, but it was smaller items. And so this was really an opportunity to create an exhibit that kind of showcased medicine from the past, if you will, and have a more complete display. I think the two items that probably really stand out for me are the exam table, which is beautiful wood and leather top that you just, of course, do not see in today's world, and the glass IV pole. Again, we're used to going in and having maybe a similar looking pole, but it's all bags and disposable tubing and what have you, not anything that we would have put any sort of medicine in a glass bottle in today's world.
Well, you're not going to see to heat the needles and to give the shots. That's all the thing of the past. Yeah, medicine has changed a whole lot, and yet in many ways there's a lot of similarities too of what they have, the benches to sit on, to place them up or back in a certain position where the doctor can give you the physical that you need. It was a whole lot different. He did a lot of house calls. Probably, I don't want to say half, but maybe 40% of the babies were born in their house rather than the hospital. It was during the Depression and in the early years of the war, so the people were pretty hard up as far as financially during the Depression. I remember him saying many times some of the farmers might come in and they didn't have money, and he'd take care of them anyway. He says, well, you need medical help. And they would come back maybe a week or 2 weeks later with a bunch of chickens that had been killed and cleaned, or a hind quarter of a steer. Or he was paid that way many times, which he says is perfectly fine because we have to go to the store and get the food anyway. Sometimes it'd be early in the morning, you might get a call at 5 or 6. His regular office hours were like from 8 until 5, but he'd go to the hospital and deliver babies or take out an appendix for appendicitis and whatever. But yeah, he'd get called late at night. He'd maybe come back at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's just the way it was. I think all of the doctors in town, people had fond memories of them. The local doctors, people had faith in them, and you didn't go out of town in those days. You didn't drive to Fargo. Fargo was a long ways, on the highway. So people went to all the doctors locally, and yeah, people had fond memories of them.
Dr. Long, Dr. Rutledge, quite a bit of equipment from that have been generously donated to the museum from those families. It's been up now there's a couple months, and when we first put it up, we had quite a few people in, quite a bit of traffic online in the social media world. Lots of people come back to the Detroit Lakes area in the summertime to do research, to visit family, to enjoy the lakes. And so quite a few comments on looking forward to coming back and seeing the exhibit, not only Dr. Sprafka's items, but some of the other medical equipment that we have on display. So we'll intend to leave it up through the summer. So we've had people talk about remembering going to see Dr. Sprafka at his house, or Dr. Sprafka coming to visit, and sometimes those stories go along with maybe some financial struggles and how the families were able to pay for those visits.
We had lots of feedback on Facebook because it was put there. So yeah, and then in town here, I've had a lot of people say they've been in and seen it on Facebook, and they're really impressed with the exhibit. It is a great museum for the size of city of Detroit Lakes. I think there was more time. Unfortunately, in the clinics now, you're kind of rushed through because they're on a real tight schedule. You know, they're in and out because they've got another room down the hall that they've got a patient waiting for them, where in those days, the doctor could sit with them and talk for a while and take more time.
Part of our goal at the Becker County Museum is to kind of reinforce all of the history that people are reading. And so if you're reading about something that happened back in that time era and going to the doctor, or what a physician maybe would have carried with them on house calls, an exhibit is there to reinforce that information. And so it kind of makes it a little more real for people.
Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008. The North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.